To color or not to color? That is the question. Sorry, I really cannot think of a good intro. Hi, my name is Hina and these are my artworks. I actually get some questions pretty often. Hina, how do you color? How do I render like you? Hina, how many souls did you sacrifice to do the shading? About 69 souls. I don't keep any secrets on my ass sleeves, so let me break down and show you how I personally color and render. For the sake of this video, I am going to use a few different pieces of my artworks to better demonstrate each part. Disclaimer: I learned digital art via Google search as a kid, so I am not professionally trained and the advice I give may not be 100% accurate. Also, I would not go through backgrounds, as the focus of today will be the character instead. There's 4 main steps to coloring: silhouette, base colors, hard shadows, recoloring, and rendering. With that said, let's start with the first quick step, silhouette, which is the base coloring in gray. There's a few quick ways besides just using the fill tool, since it's more than likely you will leave some gaps in between lines or have used textured lineup brushes. The first one is using the selection tool, aka the magic wand, selecting the background and then inverting the selection. This makes it so that the area you're selecting is anything but the background, and then you can just color the whole thing in. I would recommend this method if your lines are a bit blurry, half transparent, or textured like graphite. The second one requires a bit of hard work, but I still suggest it regardless. That being the lasso fill tool. It's straightforward, just lasso any area you need to be colored and then it will fill in. Alternatively, you can also simply fill in the gaps and color normally. That's completely up to you. After getting the gray base color, I would recommend hiding the sketch or line art layer so you can have a better view of the silhouette, helping you identify if it's too empty, too full, or if you think that adding anything would help with visual guidance and emphasize the subject. Moving on to the easiest step, base coloring. Just toggle on alpha lock, then either use the pen tool, lasso fill, airbrush, or selection tool to fill in the desired color for each of the parts. Pretty straightforward. I also recommend replacing the gray with skin color first, then color the hair with a semi-transparent brush so that the end of hair strands can also have the skin color gradients. Remember to zoom in and check if there's any holes and gaps that you have left behind and fill them in as well. For most other art styles, as far as I'm concerned, you can just ignore what I'm about to say since it's just my style. When you fill in the base colors, a good reminder is to keep the colors relatively light and close to the skin color's hue so that it looks more coherent. Hard shadows. Now we're talking about some complex and harder steps, albeit still relatively simple, well, compared to rendering. First step, create a layer, set the mixing options to multiply, and fill it in with the general color of your background. Since my background is going to be dark blue, I will fill it in with dark blue. This applies to other color background as well, be it red or any other color. Next, you want to lower the opacity so that the shadows wouldn't be too dark and may retain the original base color. The next step is arguably the most important one, which is identifying the light source. Use an eraser tool and erase the parts where there is light. Now please understand that I am not a professional artist as of now, so there might be a lot of lighting mistakes in my artwork. Just ignore those parts. After erasing the lights, there should be bluish shadows, or whatever color your shading is, and the lit parts. In between the light and dark, there would be a more saturated line. How do we achieve this? There's actually a simple trick to get this. Select the multiply layer's opacity, invert the selection, make a new layer, and fill it in with an orange-red color. Then, enable Gaussian blur. Select the multiply layer's opacity again, invert it, erase the orange-red layer, set the mixing option to overlay. Ta-da! Quick and easy trick to get this effect. Last major step, recoloring and rendering. Before moving on to the rendering stage, I would just recolor, which is lighting up, saturating the subject first. This step is very simple. Just create a layer, set the mixing option to, again, overlay, and then use an airbrush to spray the corresponding color on where it has to be lit up. Now onto rendering. At this stage, I will combine everything including the sketch to one layer and alpha lock it. Trust me, this will save you so much time rather than having 100 layers once you start to get familiar with rendering. From how I see it, rendering is kind of like the process of making the drawing look more 3D and refining the details. I will explain how I do it in the comment section. Here, is undeniably one of the first things you would notice, and is also what provides a distinctive silhouette in the character artwork. So instead of leaving it like this, I will weave in some color blocks and blend it in slightly in where the shaded area of the hair is, especially near the light and dark intersection. I will go with a color which relates to or is similar to the background tone, like how I use purple in here when the background is blue, which is, well, similar to purple. In this Saridra or Zaradra artwork, I use the saturated turquoise color since it's similar to the background and is also her secondary hair color. Of course, it depends on different scenarios. For this OC of mine, and yes, I am from Hong Kong, her hair color is already so saturated that doing this would not bring much of an effect and only make it eye straining. So what did I do? Take this and reverse it, desaturating the shaded parts. So you see, it's not just one rule, one guide, but just how I, emphasis on usually, do it. This process makes it such that the hair shading wouldn't be as plain, clear-cut, and boring, while it also wouldn't be too blended together, giving it a blocky texture when what you did was essentially just adding in colored blocks. Apart from the light-dark intersection area, I would also weave in some colored blocks in the shaded area, just to make it have a larger variety and be less boring. In the lit area, I would weave in some bright or skin hue colored blocks, as well as some small dots of another color to decorate it just a little bit. If you would like something similar to my style, then keep it blocky. Don't overblend it. That would just make the canvas look muddy. Oh right, ever see those short videos when they say things like, "Oh, the brush doesn't matter, it's just if you're a good enough artist or not," when someone asks for a brush name? In my personal opinion, I have to disagree with this claim, since I believe the brush does matter. Yes, there are a lot of artists that just use the basic G-Pen for everything, but there also are artists that use different brushes. If you're at the stage where you are quite proficient with the lines and general shading, then brushes are a huge asset to the shading process, extending to your art style. For instance, I use squarish and triangular brushes for my artworks. I might make this topic another video in the future, just let me know if you would be interested. Now, why did I explain hair first? That's because what I just mentioned quite literally could apply to other parts as well. As you can see, I also applied saturated secondary color blocks in shaded parts of the clothes. Once you've got the hang of it, you can apply it to the whole subject. There's actually one thing I haven't noted yet, which is how I would render if the base color is white. In that case, either make the base color darker where the ambient is dim, or use a variety of colors as the color blocks, just so you wouldn't end up with a pure, boring white. The skin is a little different, but essentially the same. Just replace a variety of colors with skin hues and their respective saturated colors, and the result will be similar. Regarding the eyes, I actually have a tutorial of it on my Instagram, so I won't go in depth on how I draw it, but it's also just the same rule. Adding saturated colors in intersection points. If it's too plain, give it a little magic. I might explain it again in the future, but of course, in a separate video. Again, just let me know what you think. Last step. I promise it will for real be the last step this time. Is to optionally use saturated colors to re-ink some of the line art, just to sprinkle a little more magic and dust in it. And yeah, that's about it. In the end, it's just really lots of practice. But aside from practice, you've also got to study about different artworks from your favorite artists as well, and think about how they might have done it, and even better, study their time-lapse if they have one, try to follow their steps. Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes improvement. Alright, I lied when I said that was the last step. The real last step is to subscribe.